I chose to work in Caritas. I started as a volunteer. The whole plan was volunteering. When I came to Cyprus, I was new in the country in here, and I wanted to offer help, and especially because I speak Arabic, the language. So I thought I would be helpful in this place here.
I started more or less 10 months ago, in June, I guess. Yes. I studied international relations, so I always liked all the immigration topics, issues. And so when I started to volunteer here, I was really touched in something that I had studied in a way during my studies. So it was really interesting to be practical.
I've been volunteering for about a month and a half, so I would say around that time. I actually really was interested in refugees, asylum seekers, and migrants, so like just working with them to figure out like a better situation for them.
I've been volunteering in Caritas since last June, so right now I think it's around 9 or 10 months. Officially I'm volunteering with another organization from the European Plus program. The organization is called YEU, and they have a sort of agreement with Caritas. I'm really glad to be here. You actually can feel that you're helping people, and at the same time you realize how awful and terrible are the problems, not just in the countries where they come from Africa, Middle East, or India, Bangladesh, and Asia in general. But you can feel how for instance, the administration in Europe and in Cyprus is putting lots of rocks in the way. There's a lot of problems, bureaucratic administration with the social services. So you feel like you cannot do too much. You cannot do that much because as a volunteer, you cannot go to the government and say, "Hey, speed everything up, give more money."
The experience is good because you meet a lot of people, different people. You come to know other people's story, and you have like a bond that exists between the people and us, the volunteers. And when you check from people's experience, you know that maybe you are better off than other people.
It's not easy because the kind of our job need a little bit of experience and knowing the cases that we're dealing with, and also need the rules and the policies for the migrants in here. It was hard in the beginning. It was overwhelming because there's a lot of information, and with time, with experience, we managed. We're still learning in the process. The rules keep changing. Everything is keep up to date. So we're still in the learning of the process of learning.
It is extremely, extremely amazing. I talk to people under 18, I talk to people over 18, I talk to people over 50, I talk to kids, everyone here, and they all just come from a very similar background, whether it be from the same country or not. And so I just really like talking to people and just kind of understanding why they are the way they are, and like why they are where they are. And honestly, at times it's heartbreaking, and sometimes it's extremely rewarding.
We received like 100 of people every day. We had average of 100. It was less the month before, but with the months coming are increasing the number. So we're receiving almost like 100 to 120 a day. So sometimes we're under pressure, sometimes we get interrupted so many times. It's hard, it's not easy, but yet we say it's a blessing to have this kind of ability to keep the balance, or to manage the high pressure and the good quality of service.
I think that to be a volunteer, you don't need that many qualities and capacities. I don't say I'm basically useless, but I'm not good in a lot of things. I'm not good in bureaucratic stuff. I'm not good with applications. But usually when you come here, you work these things little by little, so everyone actually can come. If you have the will, you can do a lot of things. Even if it's not you're not good with paperwork or you're not good with people, you always can find a way to collaborate here.
In Caritas, a volunteer in Caritas, I would say that of course you need open-mindedness, kind of resistance to maybe, you know, sometimes often maybe you can hear really bad, sad stories from them, sorry, and so you should be able to support this. I mean, to afford to handle some emotions, stories, sharing stories about violence, about war, about rapes, about a lot of negative, horrible stuff, and you should be able to handle this kind of stories.
There's a lot of qualities, and which you can only adapt to those qualities if you have the interest of the people at heart. Like for example, you have to be kind. Yeah. You also have to have the ability to absorb more and talk less.
Here, I'm definitely learning about those as I go, but I think resilience is one of them. I also think that you have to have a kind heart, empathetic heart.
Most people to come here, they are not technically refugees, they are asylum seekers. For instance, to become a refugee, they have to wait around 1 year till someone calls them to do the interview to become a refugee. Also specifically in Cyprus, I think there's no enough money, and the administration here is really short of staff. You cannot have like 5 social workers for thousands of people.
Yeah, there are a lot of problems, and all of them are the main problems because I believe people leave from their country where maybe they have a comfort zone and then come to the unknown. And then first I can say language barrier. That is everywhere. Yeah, you have language barrier and then a cultural change. For someone to leave his or her own country and then come to another country just for maybe for asylum, or even without an asylum, like once you are new in Cyprus, you will have those cultural barriers. The other things with the social welfare, the immigration, labor office, and the stigma in the society.
They face a lot of red tape, unfortunately, which just the steps they have to go through to actually be considered a recognized refugee. It's a very long process. It takes up to like 8 to 12 months. So, and that's like, think about someone who doesn't have a home is waiting that long to be recognized as a refugee and receive benefits. So, I think that's the biggest issue that they face.
I cannot say the system is perfect. We are here in Caritas to try to fill in the laps where there is a problem. We try to help to give directions. Like most of the forms we have here are mostly in Greek. Yeah. So we try to also help the beneficiary to fill in the forms on their behalf. Yeah. So when you go to somewhere that you don't even have a clue on how the system works, you become frustrated.
The cases are really traumatic, and the things they have to go through or they went through are horrible in their countries or in the way through here because of the smugglers, and you know.
Caritas is helping who needs help, not thinking about who are you.